There is no question that by design, Big Pharma and the pharmaceutical corporations responsible for drugging the United States public have destroyed the lives of children and adults as well in this country. And myself, actually, I was a victim of the drugging of America and the misdiagnosis. When in the classroom, I didn't want to hear about the disinformation presented to us, wanted to be social and learn stuff outside of the classroom. They told me I had ADD or ADHD, and I was put on pills that made me feel like a literal zombie. And this is now happening. 50% of everyone in this country, everyone listening right now, will be diagnosed with a mental illness in their lifetime, and 1 in 10 Americans overall will be put on some type of psychotropic or antidepressant drug in their lifetime. And we're here with Dr. Edward Group, who has been studying this. He has some amazing statistics I want to talk about. And Dr. Group, tell us about this total insanity, this attack on the mind of the country, the mind of the planet right now, that is desensitizing us, making us like zombies. I've experienced it firsthand. I don't know if you have. You literally are in a trance all day long, and you cannot bring yourself to be inspired or care about anything with passion.
Well, one of the things that led me down this road of doing research was the fact that we're having so many suicides right now. And if you look back, I mean, there's so many kids and adults and military personnel that are being put on psychotropic drugs. And psychotropic drugs, the definition is just a drug for mental illness or some sort of an antipsychotic drug. What I wanted to do was bring people facts and shocking facts, because the more I got into it, the more I realized that this whole thing was created as a scam. I mean, psychiatry in general, they were the ones years and years ago, the psychiatrists, that were just there to look over the mentally ill individuals. Now, what Big Pharma did was they took that, and over a period of time, working with the Psychiatric Association, they developed what's called the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Illness. Now, this lists all the potential mental illness diseases like seasonal affective disorder and depression and anxiety and all the things that there's no proof. There never has been any proof that any of these things existed. And to this day, there's no scientific proof. And as a matter of fact, when you go back and you look at how they came up with these disorders, they sat around in a room with other psychiatrists and came up with and invented these disorders so they could drug the population.
Yet it's still called the Bible of psychiatry.
It is.
And it's worshipped by the psychiatrists and psychologists who look at this and try to diagnose people. They use the DSM, the book you just talked about, that says questioning authority in any capacity, questioning government is mental illness, feeling lonely, feeling sad, it's all mental illness. So every single person can be diagnosed as crazy, just like every single person in this country, if you pay with cash, if you look at someone funny, you can be considered a terrorist. So we're all mentally ill terrorists, basically, according to the government and the Bible of psychiatry.
Exactly. It's because there's no blood test that needs to be run on anybody. There's no x-rays. There's no MRIs. There's nothing. All that needs to be done to prescribe somebody a drug is when you walk into the office and you say, I'm feeling depressed or something like that, and then you get a drug. So it's a perfect scenario for pharmaceutical companies to capitalize on. What's happened is the DSM went from DSM-1 all the way up to DSM-5. The current DSM has 374 mental disorders in there, 943 pages. What's disturbing, though, is they now have a DSM for 0 to 3, which means they're able to diagnose mental illness in children from 0 to 3.
Age 0.
Age 0 to 3. The reason why they were able to do this and gain success was because they were able to classify mental illness as a chemical imbalance in the brain. Although they could not prove that, there was a scientist that came up with that theory. So all mental illness is classified under the chemical imbalance theory. It's never been proven to this day.
So you could basically say that this is opinion-based medicine, but it's worse than that because it's not just opinion, it's cash-based. They're profiteering from this, so they have incentives to diagnose patients as mentally ill so that the big pharma drug corporations that sponsor them and pay them for speaking engagements through backdoor deals are going to make more money. So it's not even just opinion-based, which would be bad enough, because if one doctor has an opinion that you're mentally ill and decides to put you on hallucinogenic class drugs, that's bad enough, but it's cash incentive-based medicine. It's total insanity.
Exactly. They want every single person in the United States and in the world on some sort of psychotropic drug. It's a $330 billion industry. Psychiatrists, the reason why they want to do it is they want to keep you dumbed down. They want to be able to seize everything from you or take away all your power, because it's been proven in court cases that if someone is labeled with mental illness, they're not capable to vote. The voting powers have been taken away from them. Their money has been taken away from them. All of their rights have been stripped from them because they've been classified with mental illness.
And they can almost classify all of us with mental illness. I think classify literally 100% of people.
Yes, they can classify 100% of the people with mental illness. So here are just some of the statistics. Not one single person has ever been cured from psychotropic drugs. Psychiatry is designed to keep people sick, addicted, violent, suicidal, drugged, and dumbed down. There are 2,000 side effects associated with psychotropic drugs, and they usually make the condition you're being treated for worse, not better. 100 million people worldwide are on psychiatric drugs. 70% of the drugs are now prescribed by general practitioners and physicians. So you don't even need to go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist anymore. You see the ad on TV that says, ask your doctor about this. And then you go to your doctor and they prescribe you the medications. What's sad is there's screening in schools now. It's called the Teen Screen. And the Teen Screen is a questionnaire that teens fill out in high school or even middle school that asks them questions about, do you feel lonely from time to time? Are you happy from time to time? Just very simple questions. Do you feel depressed one day a week or something like that? Well, right now, most teens, by the time they're 18, have gone through, from the time of 0 to 18, have gone through up to 12 mental illness screenings that go on their record forever. And 9 out of 10 kids are prescribed a drug after they take the teen screen. 84% of kids that took the test were falsely labeled as depressed.
So 90% get actually diagnosed.
Yes,
take a drug.
After the teen screen test has been performed.
And that means that not only did they hear a commercial or whatever in some cases and go to their doctor and ask for it, and the doctors are handing it out like candy, but they're actively going out and mobilizing to give kids the drugs and diagnose them.
They're going out and mobilizing teams to do screens. They're even doing screens now in OBGYN offices for pregnant women because they know their hormones are up and down all the time. And
so this is an aggressive marketing campaign.
This is an aggressive
This is like actually a sales tactic 101. To give someone a screening test, then they think they're diagnosing themselves, so they're more likely to actually purchase the product, in this case, a drug.
This is a
sales technique.
Covert marketing and sales technique that's been going on and is getting worse and getting worse to create mental illness and to classify every single person as being mentally ill and never addressing the root cause.
If they can do that, then they can pioneer all these new drugs.
And they can control you, and they can always label you as having a mental illness. If anything goes on, they can threaten you with, you were diagnosed or you showed signs of mental illness, you've been screened for mental illness and you were positive. But what's happening is 23 soldiers and veterans are committing suicide every day now, more than that are killed in combat. 716 people out of every 100,000 commit suicide that are on psychotic medications. Psychiatric drugs now are killing an estimated 3,000 people every single month. So there's population control efforts there as well. 17 million children worldwide have been prescribed psychiatric drugs. Out of the 17 million, more than 10 million children are in the United States.
So statistically of that, thousands of them will kill themselves.
Thousands of them will kill themselves. What's sad is that you're seeing kids that were completely fine. They went to the doctor. They had a screening done. The counselors told the parents they needed to be on antidepressants or psychotic medications, mind-altering medications. And they were on there, and some of them within 7 days have committed suicide, and the parents found them hanging in the closet.
The real crime is that in the 1980s, Eli Lilly knew that Prozac was worsening suicidal thoughts and causing more depression and everything, and they hid it. And it wasn't until, I think, 2005 through a BBC article that this Harvard, I think it was a psychologist or a psychiatrist, he came out and said the human population was being treated like guinea pigs, and that they had hid it all these years. And Eli Lilly was forced to admit that. They had hid it. So they know what's going on. That is the true crime here, is that they're giving people with suicidal thoughts and deep depression these drugs that worsen it. And the side effects even admit that. And all the shooters are on them. All the totally insane people are put on these to make them even more insane for money. And statistically, you're going to have people that are killing themselves, and it's growing, and it's thousands of people now. That's just insane, but go ahead.
And here's the thing, it's so hard to get somebody off antipsychotic or psychotic drugs because you have to slowly wean them off for at least a year. And then you have to replace and address the root cause. So
you can do it naturally with herbs and everything.
You can do it naturally, but again, the root cause of this is not being addressed. The root cause of, if you want to say there really is such thing as mental illness, is the fact that they're putting fluoride in the water. They're poisoning the air we breathe. They're poisoning the food that we eat. They're poisoning the water that we drink. Everything that we're exposed to in our environment is poison. Most of that is excitotoxins. Most of those are brain damaging, neurological damaging compounds that create you, cause you to be depressed, cause you to have mood swings, cause you to have hyperactivity, artificial dyes, etc., MSG, genetically modified foods, pesticides, herbicides, metals, aluminum, all that gets in the brain, causes a chemical imbalance. Then they give you these psychotropic drugs to try to balance it out, which just makes the problem even worse.
And then they also found some of the key studies in rats and others that the gut is also linked to this in a really, really essential way, to the point where if you're taking a lot of antibiotics and you're not replenishing the body with good gut flora, the beneficial probiotic bacteria that you can take through supplementation or fermented foods and everything like that, then there's a link to your brain where mental illness begins to grow, and they had schizophrenic links to that and everything. So where if the gut is imbalanced, then the brain is imbalanced as well. So you're being attacked on a gut level with the GMOs and everything, just dispersing horrible chemicals that are killing the gut flora. You're taking antibiotics for all the diseases that you have from a weakened immune system and not replenishing them with probiotics. Then you have the excitotoxins and everything. It's total assault on the body. So what is the answer to all of this?
Well, the answer is that people need to take a look back and they need to understand what the real cause is, and then they need to address the cause. They need to switch to organic foods. They need to drink pure water. They need to get rid of all their artificial sweeteners if they're in the diet colas. They need to completely change their lifestyle and not take in any of those excitotoxins and reduce the amount of toxins that they're bringing into their system on a daily basis. And they can do that through cleansing. I mean, there's a lot of good body cleansing programs that are out there right now that will focus on intestinal cleansing, repairing the gut, liver and gallbladder cleansing, parasite cleansing, chemical and heavy metal cleansing. People need to let their body's own self-healing mechanism reactivate. And in order to reactivate your body's self-healing mechanism, you got to get rid of and stay away from all the things that are going to cause the so-called mental illness. Today, children 5 years old and younger are the fastest growing segment of the non-adult population prescribed antidepressants. U.S. children as young as 4 have attempted suicide while influenced by such drugs. Between 1995 and 1999, and that was a long time ago, antidepressant use increased 580% in the under 6 population and 151% in the 7 to 12 age group. So what 0 to 6-year-old do you know that needs an antidepressant? I mean, seriously, how are you going to diagnose a 6-year-old with depression? And not only that, but look at all the things that the antidepressants cause. They cause kidney failure, which leads to people being on dialysis forever. Serious weight gain. People get on antidepressants and they gain 30 to 40 pounds usually within the first 3 months. Obesity, okay? Look at that epidemic. Diabetes. So not only are these damaging, but they're also causing more and more other problems that people need to be medicated with. And the thing is, there's no test, documentation, no blood test or anything, x-rays, that can actually prove that anyone has a mental imbalance. So the best thing I can tell everybody to do is, do your research. Look at the dangers of psychotropic drugs out there. If you have children, make sure you watch them and make sure you pay attention to them, because they probably are being influenced by their friends that are on Ritalin and Adderall and these stimulants in school. Know that causes, especially these stimulants, can cause the brain to shrink and can cause permanent brain damage. Don't just trust what your doctor is saying about your kid, or the counselor is saying that your kid needs antidepressants or psychotropic drugs. Look at the natural options that are available out there. Do not get yourself or your children or anybody in your family, if they are on any of these psychotropic drugs, Paxil, Concerta, Prozac, Xanax, any mind-altering drug that's out there, take a strong look at that and see if you can find somebody that can wean you off of that naturally.
It's complete chemical warfare. Dr. Group, thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me on.
Ultimately, it is up to us to control our own destiny, to spread the information out there, to reveal that these super hardcore antidepressants, these big pharma pushed pills, do not work. They are killing people. They are leading to the very effects they're supposed to treat. And overall, it's up to us to decide to take control of our health naturally, to inform our friends and family, and to spread the word and decide for ourselves we're going to take the real way of enhancing our health, reclaiming our bodies, and retaking our freedoms from this complete corporate takeover of the medical system.
The globalist social engineers are not just targeting us with propaganda. They are manipulating our genetics. We are being targeted at every level by estrogen mimickers that lower our testosterone and other hormones and natural compounds that the body needs. After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic super male vitality formula, sourced from powerful organic herbs and then concentrated for maximum potency. Super Male Vitality was developed to activate your body's own natural processes instead of using synthetic chemicals. Super Male Vitality by InfoWars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended dose. For a limited time, we are offering 15% off Super Male Vitality at InfoWarsLife.com to introduce you to this powerful supplement. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today to secure your Super Male Vitality. InfoWarsLife.com.